My girlfriend said, "You're not my owner. I could leave anytime." I said, "Noted." So I replaced her without saying a word. You should have seen her face when she realized I was serious. I'm Ethan, 32, and for almost 4 years I thought dating Marissa, 29, was the best decision of my life. At first she felt like a thunderstorm, loud, exciting, and impossible to ignore. Only later did I notice how often thunder becomes just noise. Last October, a regular Tuesday spun everything. I was in our tiny kitchen, folding laundry on the counter because the table was buried under her art supplies. She lounged on the couch, scrolling her phone. One cycle too hot, and her favorite lavender sweater came out doll size. I held it up like a guilty dog holds a chewed slipper. "Hey, I'm sorry," I said, already searching online for a replacement. Without lifting her eyes, she replied, "You ruined everything I care about." The words landed, but I kept my tone steady. "I'll order a new one tonight." Still scrolling, she added, "You should be grateful I chose you. Better options have been waiting since day one." She'd said versions of that before. "I could leave you tonight and be with someone better tomorrow. Men like you should beg to keep women like me." Each time I'd rush to prove my devotion. Flowers, take out from her favorite Thai place, back rubs while she binge-watched reality shows. I thought I was nurturing the relationship. Really, I was feeding a habit. She swung the stick. I offered the carrot. This time something inside me nudged, "Try silence." So I folded another towel and simply answered, "Okay." Her head snapped up. "Okay what?" "Okay, maybe you should," I said, as neutrally as reading a weather report. Marissa blinked like I'd spoken in code. The gap between us filled with unheard words. Instead of scrambling to patch things, I set the laundry aside, grabbed a blanket, and slept on the couch. She was certain I'd crawl back to the bedroom with apologies. I didn't. By Friday, she switched tactics. She cooked my favorite breakfast, blueberry pancakes, and greeted me in the red sundress she knew I loved. I thanked her, offered a polite smile, and left for work. That night, while she painted in the living room, I opened my laptop and listed our spare room online, available in 3 weeks. Here's the truth she never admitted out loud. Marissa wasn't financially independent. 8 months earlier, she'd quit her marketing job to focus on her art. Since then, I'd covered every bill: rent, groceries, her gym membership, even the eyelash extensions she booked religiously. She boasted she could replace me overnight, but logistically, she couldn't afford to. That realization felt like flipping a breaker. The power in the apartment shifted, quiet but total. Over the next week, I started sorting her and used belongings into boxes. No drama, just practical stacking. I labeled them in marker. Marissa, keep. Marissa, donate. Marissa, ask later. On Wednesday evening, she noticed. "Are we moving?" she asked, eyebrows pinched. "Just organizing," I answered, sealing another box. "You said you might leave, right? Figured I'd help you pack." She let out a short laugh, waiting for the punchline. I taped the lid shut instead. That night, she texted furiously, fingers flying while she sat beside me. I glanced over once and saw a heart emoji pop up from a name I didn't recognize. The confirmation hurt far less than I'd expected, maybe because by then I'd stopped picturing her in my future. Before bed, I sent her a polite link to 3 affordable studios near her yoga studio, each within her theoretical budget. Then I turned off the light and slept soundly for the first time in months. By the following Monday, the air in our apartment was heavier, quieter. Marissa didn't bring up the boxes again, but I noticed her checking them when she thought I wasn't looking. She started wearing more makeup, lounging in outfits she hadn't touched in months, suddenly offering to cook together or asking about my day with sugary interest. I played along, politely, like a distant guest. It drove her crazy. A few days later, while we were brushing our teeth side by side, she finally asked, "Why are you being so cold lately?" I met her eyes in the mirror. Because I finally realized that being with someone who thinks staying with me is a favor, that's not love. That's leverage. She didn't say anything, just rinsed her mouth and walked out. That night, I took another quiet step. I submitted the roommate replacement form to the building manager. My cousin Mark was moving to the city for a new job. He needed a place, and I needed peace. The apartment was in my name. She never thought that would matter. On Sunday morning, while she was still asleep, I slipped the signed lease update under our manager's door. I wasn't angry, just tired. Tired of trying to win affection from someone who treated love like a currency I always owed more of. She didn't know yet, but I figured it was time for the talk. That evening, I asked her to sit down. She crossed her arms like a teenager waiting to be scolded. But I didn't raise my voice. "I'm not kicking you out," I began. "But I'm also not going to live with someone who treats commitment like charity." "What are you even talking about?" she scoffed. "I've been listening to you tell me for years that I should be grateful, that I could be replaced. At first I thought that was your insecurity talking, but I realized it's how you keep score. You don't want a partner. You want leverage. Her jaw tightened. So what? You're just ending it like this? No. You already ended it. You just thought I'd never call your bluff. She stood up fast, pacing. You're being manipulative. Cruel. I gave up everything for us. My job, my time. You quit your job on your own, I said calmly. I supported you without complaint. But this version of love, where I'm always trying to prove my worth while you threaten to walk away. I'm done with that. She looked stunned. For the first time, her usual rage was mixed with confusion. She was losing grip. Then she snapped. You can't just replace me. I gave her the smallest shrug. You've been saying you could replace me since month 6. I finally decided to take your advice. And that was it. She stormed into the bedroom and slammed the door. I didn't follow. Over the next 2 weeks, she stayed, but she wasn't really there. No more fake breakfasts, no more flirty dresses. Just short replies, long silences, and awkward shared spaces. I think she was hoping I'd backpedal, that I'd get emotional. But I had nothing left to argue. I had peace, and I wasn't trading it again. The day she moved out was quiet. No yelling, no big scene. She packed her things while I was at work, left the spare keys on the counter, and disappeared. I came home that night and sat on the couch alone. For the first time in years, it actually felt like home. She left without a goodbye. No dramatic exit. No last-minute tears. Just an echo of boxes down the hallway, and her key left beside the coffee maker. And honestly, I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel like I'd won. I just felt still. In the weeks that followed, I fell back into a rhythm I hadn't realized I missed. Quiet mornings with coffee and a podcast. Dinner that didn't have to be Instagram-worthy. Silence that didn't feel like punishment. Marissa didn't text me, not immediately. I figured she was trying to prove a point, that she'd be fine without me. Maybe she thought I'd crack first, but I didn't. A month later, at 2:08 a.m., her name lit up my phone. I messed up. I miss us. You were the best I ever had. Can we talk? I stared at the message for a while. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel tempted, either. Just sad that we dragged something so flawed so far. I didn't reply. Some things don't need a closing argument. They close themselves. 2 weeks after that, I saw her again. Total coincidence. I'd stopped at a coffee shop near my new job. She walked in with one of the guys I'd seen her texting before. He looked uncomfortable, nervous glances, tight shoulders. She looked tired. Not physically, but in the way someone looks when the life they projected finally caught up with the one they're living. We locked eyes. She gave me a small, hopeful smile, like maybe I'd come over. Maybe I'd make it easy. I didn't. I raised my cup slightly, gave her a single nod, and turned back toward the door. I didn't look back. I've thought about that moment more than I care to admit. How she thought love was a performance, a power struggle, a game with winners and losers. But love isn't supposed to be scored. It's supposed to be shared. Marissa once told me I was lucky to have her. Maybe I was, but not in the way she meant. I was lucky to learn that love without respect is just attachment. Lucky to walk away before I forgot who I was. Lucky to choose peace over pride. So yeah, when she said, "You're not my owner. I could leave you anytime. Remember that." I did. And when I said, "Noted," I meant it. What do you think? Did I handle it right? Would you have replied to that late-night message? Or is silence sometimes the loudest answer there is?